This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
Hello and welcome to episode 7 of Too Old to Game. I am your fear-filled host, David Oster. I'm joined by Mark Weber.
Dubnemies.
And the original man-child himself, Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys? I was confused because usually you go to me first.
Yeah.
And I was like confused. I was
no,
like,
I go to Mark first.
Mark,
we just haven't been in the same room in a month.
Mark wasn't here. You weren't here.
There's been more episodes where there were not three of us in the room than there were with us all in the room.
Busy schedules. We're all keeping busy for different reasons. But one of them right now that we all unite to talk about, except Mark, we're going to talk a little Battle for Azeroth, World of Warcraft today. We're going to talk a little bit of Nintendo Switch porting in some things, some new games. And of course, we're going to talk Fortnite, because that's just what we do on this show, just talk Fortnite all the time.
Because we're the best Fortnite gamers around.
Oh my God.
Ninja got nothing on me.
Oh my God.
I'll take down Ninja any day.
But before we get started, I do want to do a little bit of housekeeping. I want to give you guys a chance to toss some comments down below. We love reading it. We love the feedback. If you want to hit that subscribe button to support us, if you want to go on to our website, you can always check out the merch. I am wearing the merch again today. I promise. I make promises. I keep them, Ricky. That's what I do here. I forgot you made the promise, to be honest. I almost did, but then I didn't, clearly. You can always get a t-shirt. You can always check out our articles. Or you can go on to patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcasts.
Yeah.
I feel like that sounds
without
right.
The question mark. That's not part of it.
Fair enough, Mark. And if you want to donate any level tier, we would love your support. And if you hit that $10 tier, you can be our first ever member, our first ever Patreon on Too Old to Game.
It's going to be a glorious day when there is.
I'm going to keep shilling for it. Like, give me a Patreon. Somebody, I know you guys love to talk gaming. We love to talk gaming. Come on, jump on this. And finally, iTunes, hit it up 5-star. All right, guys, I'm excited. Battle for Azeroth.
Very excited. I like
Boys,
it.
Battle for Azeroth is a thing. World of Warcraft's newest expansion just launched this past Monday afternoon.
And you're already 120.
I hit 120 day of.
Yeah.
I just dropped my mic because I'm a professional.
It's been a while since Dave's been in the room. He's getting reacclimated to everything.
He's just touching everything. I can't stop.
I can't not pitch it.
Dave's
I feel like my hands should be doing
honestly,
this.
it's because you're not playing WoW. You're getting the withdrawals.
Like, I got the mouse over here. I got the WASD going on this side. Look, the launch was mixed results for people. If you were on ahead of time and on most servers, you were fine. If you tried logging in around launch time, no. Just no. We had people stuck out for 4+ hours. We had entire servers down. The worldwide, North America launch all went down at the same time. Pretty cool idea. EU was the following day, encountered more of the same issues. But to be fair, pretty impressive feat nonetheless. The gameplay. The gameplay was awesome.
Do you like the way they did the launch this year? Because this is the first time they did the launch like this.
Yeah.
Correct?
I believe this was the first NA launch one time.
Where it was 3 p.m. Pacific, that's when it's going live. So for us in Central Time, 5 o'clock, boom, while it's going live.
No, it was awesome. I loved it. And I was in that initial rush, and I'm sitting there in a Discord server with 15 to 20 people in my guild, and it's just the instant panic. It's like, I'm clicking here, nothing's happening. Like, the servers are being hit up by millions of requests.
Yeah.
Millions of people are trying to do this one thing at one time and just exploding internally.
I mean, that always happens with, when movies are just going out, tickets are dropping now.
Yep.
You can't buy your ticket.
Oh my God.
This game is coming out, you can't do it.
You
Concerts,
can't get on,
music,
you can't play. Yeah.
You just can't. You see it with, because I need to talk about something that's not WoW. You see it with vinyl records all the time. A band comes out with the limited edition vinyl and it crashes. You can't do shit.
Yeah.
So you guys shouldn't be surprised when WoW isn't working, because everyone is trying to play it right now.
For those who don't know, Ricky and I both play WoW. Mark does not. He's not a fanboy.
I used to play.
I wouldn't really say that I used to play.
He had an experience playing.
I've tried to get into WoW. And my problem is I just didn't have friends that play it, and if you don't have people that play it, it's not really that
But
strong.
now you do.
You do. But now it's too late. You guys
Is it really? Is it really, Mark? Is it ever too late?
If I were to still be able to do podcasts, I think it's too late. Because I can only make so many
free hours
outside of work and outside of wife
True.
life decisions.
That's how you get her hooked on the game too.
Yeah.
And
Then you get to play together.
You play
and that's
WoW.
together time.
But don't
I
you-
know couples who do that.
But don't end up like the
the
story I have from this was way back, like Burning
Yeah.
Crusade days. Husband and wife, they were the guild masters, got divorced, and the guild,
guild
was
split up.
actually not
It was
just
part of the
that.
divorce.
The guild was in the divorce proceedings of who gets legal rights to the guild.
yeah, that's
So
how
who
silly
was going to
people
be
are.
the guild?
I
the
mean,
guild
devoted
manager,
to World of
or
Warcraft they are.
master or
Guild
whatever.
master.
Yeah, whatever they had special rankings and whatever
course.
for that.
Of course. But yeah, so Mark obviously not a huge fan of it, but the reason you said you didn't have people to play with, and honestly, what made this first day of leveling special was I was playing with a group of friends who I'd known for a decade now, and then like 15 other people were in the group who I wasn't super familiar with, but we're all on kind of good terms as a guild, so it was special because you got that camaraderie. You're all trying to do this one thing together. You're all trying to, be as fast as you can, level through this stuff, and like experience these zones together. And honestly, it made the world of difference playing that versus when Ricky got on the following day,
Yesterday.
the day after. Yeah, yesterday.
And he was like a toddler compared to
And-
level 120.
Yeah, and so Ricky gets on at 110, and he's excited. He's like, "Oh, I'm doing this now, doing this." He's like, "All right, I'll jump on. I'll make a character with you, and I will level with you." And Ricky, why don't you give us some of yours? Because you came in without playing a lot recently.
For me, I really had not played Legion at all.
Yeah.
The last expansion I really remember playing is Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah, that's a ways back.
How I feel it was around Cataclysm, the start of Cataclysm. I was there, and then I was like, fuck this. Like, I'm out. And then I remember way back when Mike Rankin was a part of MVP, me and him were going to play. I leveled a monk up to like 34, bought the game in Legion again because I had
Really?
to rebuy the game for a new account.
Yeah.
Because my old account got hacked by like someone in China or Russia or whatever.
Sounds about right.
And never played Legion. Just never played it.
Yeah.
Because it was like Overwatch came out and that took all my time away. Now at BFA, it's like I got the last 2 days of Legion and now I'm in BFA.
So let me ask you a question
Yeah.
to you, Ricky, because I'm not
Yeah.
a WoW gamer, so I don't get it. You have expansions that you played. You had expansions that you're like you mentioned Cataclysm, where you're like,
I just
no, I'm
got
not
out.
into it. Why? Like, what made
For
you say
me-
no?
For me, it was Wrath of the Lich King. Now I got to look up like
Because
actual
for
time.
me, like I remember games when they used to have expansions and stuff like that. That's not really a thing that exists anymore now. They're DLC, but they would be nice updates. But I guess for a game like WoW, which has been so consistent through its years of how it's played and stuff like that, where from an outsider, I don't know if I would see that and be like, I don't understand what's different for you. Like, what is the thing about it that you go, no, this isn't my game anymore, or anything like that?
Usually for me with WoW, it was real life.
Yeah.
Like, it was just they didn't have time because it's a time commitment.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
As a kid, you can kind of go, and I mean as a kid too, like high school and like even
Even in
early college,
yeah. Yep.
you can just devote all your time into it. But like as an adult, it's like, all right, like I gotta prioritize a little bit, and I can't stay up all night, but I still have to play this game.
Yeah.
Like I didn't expect to get rehooked, but like we played a couple times like on streams, and I was like, all right, I'm not like really
pretty fun.
hooked.
Yeah.
I mean, what really derailed it for me was going to VidCon,
Yeah.
having that whole week
true.
off. And then like playing right before Battle of Azeroth, I'm like, all right, I'm buying it. And then now I'm like, I'm jonesing for it. It's like,
It's an addiction.
it very much is an addiction. It's like I'm going through withdrawals, Dave.
And I-
scratching my arm. I'm waiting for it.
And Mark, I think to jump on that point of why some expansions over the others, I agree with Ricky. It's do you have the time, but it's also the group you're playing with. If you don't have a group, like WoW is such a community-driven game that if you don't find that group of people, and it's a challenge to find people that you can fit in with and talk to on a daily basis, and you really share your time with them. And if you don't find that right group, the experience isn't going to be as good for you as it is if you're in that like positive circle. So I think a lot of it comes down to finding your community and being able to play with them and share the experience. That's why I love WoW more than any other game, really. Is it's all about the community and it's all about sharing the experience. Like I was always a co-op fan. I I've never been a huge PvP person, but like give me a co-op game. I'll play on the couch with people. We'll play some like GoldenEye, some stuff like that going way back. Absolutely. PS4, same way. Love the co-op. And WoW is like the ultimate of like, we're all in this together. It's, one group of, 25, 40 people, 20 people, whatever the raid group is at the time, working together to do something epic. And I think that, you always want to be part of that. But if you can't find that group, it's very easy to wash out because it just seems like, I'm playing this game, but I can't experience the real game without it because there's the leveling and then there's the, dungeons, then there's raids, and then there's the uber, mythic rating on like, the percentage point of people who complete that whole thing. And
that's why I want to bookmark that because I want to jump off what you said, but just kind of end your question because I had to look it up. Also, it's for me a time thing because I had to look at when each expansion came out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we had Burning Crusade dropped my birthday of 2007, which was insane. That was like the portal opened and you can go through the portal. So it's like, think of I'm a junior in high school. Then Wrath of the Lich King comes out the next year, November, around your birthday. Yep. We're freshmen in college at that point because we graduated June of 08.
That was just the start of our college career.
So we're freshmen in college. We can play all day.
It's blow-off classes. Come on.
And then Cataclysm was around 2010 where it's like junior year of college. You're like,
Shit's getting hard.
Like, not just that. It's not like, oh, man, college classes are hard. It's also, there are girls. And I would like to hang out with said girls.
I'm a junior in college. I just realized that girls exist.
I lost 6 years of my life to this game.
I've lost a lot of years.
Hang on. I'm going to do a callback. Are the girls there?
Are the girls there? Because if they are, I want to do them. That is a way callback.
That's like
Dungeons and Dragons. It's
8-bit
theater.
8-bit theater right there.
8-bit theater, Dungeons and Dragons. But then I didn't play Myst, didn't play... Well, Wards of Draenor was the one Warlords of Draenor is what I came into... When Rankin and I were going to play, never played Legion until 2 days before BFA?
Pretty much.
But you just quick aside, as you mentioned D&D, that's always been my thing too. Of like, you could play World of Warcraft, which is a community type of game.
You could also play D&D.
Or you could just play D&D. It was always kind of my viewpoint.
But if you don't got the people close to you to play D&D,
it's true.
You got World of Warcraft.
And then you can go to that person in California.
Sidetracking this, we've been trying to put together a D&D group for like a month now. And we haven't even rolled all of our characters. You've got one too.
I would love to do the podcast.
Yes.
It's just... It's always time.
Yeah.
I had a group once where, it wasn't that long ago, it was like a year ago of some people getting together to play. We had session 0, things were getting created, and then nobody could get together for session 1.
Exactly.
And it was like, this didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hardest part about being an adult is like you just don't have time to do everything you want to do.
Yeah.
But I think the World of Warcraft thing, timing lines up to it perfectly. Like I had a bunch of time off from work that I was able to use. Yeah. You called in a sick day. I know a bunch of people who took off the week of, basically, and just kind of wrote off, be like, hey, I'm going to be out. I'm going to play this video game for my entire time. And once you got in, I want to start talking about the actual gameplay.
Well, that was the thing I was going to bring up. You mentioned how there's a ton of different things, and the thing I love most about this expansion is I was like you. We originally played on a Loon, which was a PvE server, because, screw PvP. I don't want to be in Stranglethorn Vale at 3 in the morning, and Horde's the only people on, and I can't quest, because they keep killing me.
Things that you just said.
It's exactly like...
Mark's like, you said a lot of words there. Mark, I don't know what any of them meant.
I got Horde, I know that
Let me dumb this down for you, Mark. Basically, and this happened recently, too, on the server we were on before they changed everything. I would be doing my thing.
Yeah.
Kind of doing these quests.
Completing some quests.
In
killing some boars,
And then someone from the other faction would come over, hey, I'm max level, you're level 40, one swing, and then would just sit on my body. And to where I res, one swing, to where I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
That's why I hated PvP. But now that they have War Mode, like, War Mode actually intrigues me to where it's like, hey, I can get experience from this, and it actually is worth it, not just like, oh, I get this, to me, worthless honor for this gear I'm never going to use because I don't like
plan
PvP
to keep PvPing,
and Warsong Gulch and all the other ones they had.
No, and that's honestly doing War Mode and being able to interact with the Horde on that level. There is some fun to it because you get in some times where you're like...
It's also going back to the roots
of
what Warcraft was, Horde and Alliance.
It's true. And it's some of the most fun because there's times when you're going through and I was in a group of 5 while leveling because we got this plan, we're gonna do this stuff, and we come across like a horde or two, and you play the game, you're like, how do you want to do this? Like, do we want to be those guys and just 5v1, 5v2 them, or do you want to just do a slash wave or a slash wink at somebody and just keep going on your day and whatever? And pretty much that first day was like a toss up between who you're going against. And honestly, when we started going and you'd get into like 5v5 groups basically in the open world, and then like the fun thing is some hordes start winning. So then you guys go out in your challenge like, hey, there's horde here. Come on by this location. Yeah. Then more lands come. Then more horde come. And you have this natural like tug of war going on. And you don't even care about the quests anymore. You're just there to kill each other.
Yeah.
There's just something so like you didn't even plan on doing this. All of a sudden, it just spur of the moment kind of thing. And it makes you enjoy the gameplay so much more. And all of a sudden, you're so focused on this and you're having fun. And it's a different experience to kind of vary up the leveling scheme, because leveling is very much, okay, pick up these quests from these guys, go do these things over here, come back, hand in these 4 quests,
and
next area.
And
do
all
the
the
same,
quests
rinse,
are
repeat.
the same.
Yeah.
Like,
roughly. I mean, you've got...
No,
yeah.
I mean like basic of like...
Go here, kill somebody,
these,
get this
pick
thing.
up these, or like man this cannon, shoot this boulder into this group of people to kill
There's
50.
some new ones.
It's like...
There's some awful ones. You got to ride a horse around and,
that pissed me off because it took me like 20 times to do it, where it's like, why the hell do you make me do this quest? Waste my time
Blizzard's
because I'm
funny
just
like
trying
that.
to get to 120 as
Well,
fast
they
as
always
possible.
had. I mean, this isn't a racing thing, but games always had that racing
Gimmicky
mission.
test.
Oh, my
Well, it
God,
was that mission, like Grand Theft Auto always did that shit, and all those type of
Yes.
games, where you had to race that one time, and it fucking sucked because I hate those type of games.
Yeah, no, because
Or
it's not
like
what you
the
signed up
spy-
for.
or like
yeah,
the
yeah, 'cause
Spyro,
that was, I'm here to shoot people.
the
Don't make me
Spyro
race this
games
game.
would have those too, where you
Yeah.
got to just, it's one thing.
Yep.
It was usually something extra, like, you got to do it once for the story, but then extra for whatever gem to maybe get a trophy with the new game.
Yeah, no, I think all in all, like, that's why I'm really excited when we come back and get back to playing again, Ricky, like, flipping on war mode and starting to do that, because they do, it's balanced. So even if they're like max level and you're still leveling up, they balance it down to where you guys are pretty much even, and it makes it more fun. It makes combat and like tagging mobs, because say Horde is attacking this big quest mob that's like huge.
You can tag it and they can't get it.
Well, they've tagged already, so it's theirs. But if I kill them,
Then it
I can
becomes
tag the
untagged.
mob,
Yeah.
and keep going and wrap up that for myself, basically. So
Yeah.
it adds another level of intrigue. It's like I can be nice and help them, or I can be a jerk, kill them, steal the mob, and leave.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it adds such variety to the normally dull gameplay of questing. But at the same time, questing, now we've got all these voice actors. I feel like they went heavy on voice actors
And cinematics.
Cinematics. It's something they've really excelled at is storytelling, and that's why WoW is so unique, is because it's one game for 12 years now. I think 2006 was launch. For 12 years now, and it's a storyline. I know it's not the most straightforward storyline. We've had obviously some issues with it, but at the end of the day, like, the lore behind it and what makes you want to play it is finding out more about these characters. How is this event going to change the way the world is? And I think that being such a deep lore game with World of Warcraft and the cinematics that they've really put money into to help tell that story has gone a long way in Battle for Azeroth. I've done the 110 to 120 grind once, 1.5 times basically now, and I know there's a probably I want to say there's at least 20 cinematics just from the Alliance side. I imagine the same for Horde. Like, there's a lot of time. Did you expect that, and how do you like that? Do you like it?
I love it.
You
and
do.
the reason why is because, like, I go back to, by the way, WoW came out November 23rd, 2004.
4.
We were 14, you were 13 years old.
I remember playing in 2005. I wasn't sure if that
Yeah.
was live or if that was still in.
Yeah, so the end of 2004, beginning of 2005
God.
is when it came out. And then Burning Crusade was like 26 months later, then 22 months later, then roughly 2 years is what we sit at per expansion. But I wasn't expecting it because, like, the WoW from the olden days is where, like, the old gamers sitting here playing WoW.
Because we
have
peaked
that.
in Burning Crusade pretty much.
Exactly. Burning Crusade and Wrath are the two that I go back to. And it's just, you didn't get a big cinematic unless it was like you really accomplished something. Like beating Illidan, I guess, had a cinematic after it. Now it's like, oh, I finished this quest story, but there's cinematics throughout the story that kind of draw you into the lore a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, now it's not just I don't care about these quests. It's, okay, at least I'm seeing stuff and I'm seeing these characters interact and they're not just pointless NPCs with question marks over their head.
It takes away, like, it makes you more invested in the game. And Mark, I don't know if you've played games like, obviously you haven't played WoW recently,
Just
but like
MMO
Heavy Rain.
RPGs.
Did you play Heavy Rain? Or something along the lines where you get a heavy
Heavy Rain,
cinematic driven story. Like, how do you feel about those kind of games? Do you feel like
I like it. I think it's fun. I'm a fan of that developer too. That's did that Beyond Two Souls and stuff like that. Even though they get a little trashed at times.
do.
I like it. I think it's fun. But it's that thing where you have to walk into that knowing. Same thing with walking into a Metal Gear Solid game, a more recent Metal Gear Solid game, Quantic Dream. Yeah. I think it's a great developer, but you have to walk in knowing that it's a different experience. You're not playing Call of Duty, walking around shooting a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, not to diss on Call of Duty, but like you're walking into this knowing that it's a little bit more of, I don't know, cinematic movie type of feel. Where
do you think it helps storytelling more though than like if you were just talking to an NPC basically?
I think it's a lot easier to tell a story that way. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's like the better way to go, because there've been great stories where games, I think of Fallout games and stuff like that where they can tell awesome stories, and like older Fallout games before they voice acted the main character, there wasn't cinematics. It was just kind of you read the text of what you said and they respond back to you, things like that. So you don't have to do it, but it's a lot easier when you can, put the money in to do something cinematic.
It also depends on the type of game too. Like cinematics for WoW are going to be different than the cinematics that we'll see in the Spider-Man game September 7th compared to the ones that we'll see in either Beyond Two Souls or like Detroit Become Human.
Or like
Dream.
Exactly that. The
Telltale.
What's
style.
the game I'm thinking of? The the one with Norman Reedus in it. I can't remember the name. Where that one's
so
gonna
weird
have.
looking.
We talked about that on the E3 podcast.
That one's gonna
I
have
don't know
tons
the
of
name,
cinematics
but
and stuff like that. That's that type of experience that you're getting. It's Kojima's new game.
God, I
you're
don't know the
looking
name.
it up. So very Death Stranding.
Death Stranding, yeah.
Yeah.
With
Oh
the baby on his chest.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very different experience than what you get in a cinematic, I'm assuming, for WoW. Or
WoW is... They're doing a lot of these, like, maybe 1 minute, 30 second to, like, 1.5 minute,
But they're not talking to you. There's some of them that are just text at the bottom, which I don't mind, but it's like... It then differentiates to where it's like, okay, if they're actually talking, this is a big cinematic.
Right.
Otherwise, it's like, oh, okay, I still have to read at the bottom. This is a mini cinematic,
well, I mean,
but it's still cool.
Yeah, pre-launch even. I think we watched the Jaina one live on this.
Yes, the Jaina Proudmoore with the boat and stuff.
Yes. So, like, they did 3 videos basically leading up to the expansion talking about, like, giving some backstory to one character, subtly introducing the location we're going, setting up, like, this giant war that's now been brought on and how people within the faction are reacting to it. And they're doing all this storytelling through these, like, 5-minute videos. Yeah. And it's awesome. It brings such a bigger level of importance to it and, like, just ambiance to the game where you just feel like you're actually part of something. Yeah. More so than if it was just like, oh, here's this quest giver. He says, oh, looks like where we're now.
Yeah.
Like,
I wonder if that's part of it where they're trying to move away from back in 2004 when they're like, we're this game that's doing this new thing. And looking at it now and saying, hey, look at like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which does TV, which does movies, comic books, games. They're everything you could possibly be. World of Warcraft has comics. They tried to do a movie. I don't think the movie got that well reviewed.
They did do a movie.
They did the movie.
Yeah, I say tried because I don't think it did that well.
It did bleh in America. It did good in China, and I don't know if it got propped up enough by the market over there.
But you know they have
we'll see.
Castlevania. I mean, I know this is different, but Castlevania on Netflix and stuff like that. And video games are going back. I mean, think before like stuff like Castlevania. How long has it been since we've had a video game TV
crossover?
Show?
Yeah,
like. I think of like the really shitty Mario and Sonic.
Remember this?
TV
I thought the Sonic one was great. The old ones, not the remake ones.
Yeah, like you have these type of things where they tried, but maybe you have something where like WoW is saying, hey, we can invest in, we have this huge lore that we kind of have, I personally think they could do more with. And I think they've adapted to that too, of knowing like, hey, we can do a lot more if we put the effort in, and we can make this thing really huge. There's no reason why Warcraft can't become this huge thing like a Marvel, like a DC universe.
Well, and that's why I know this is getting a little bit away from BFA, but the thing I think of is, first off, looking on Rotten Tomatoes, the tomato meter, which is critics, 27%, the audience, 77%. So the fans liked it.
For
it was just
a movie
critics.
like this where it has a cult
the fans are going
that's
to
not
like
a surprise,
it.
yeah.
But I mean, the thing that I think of is with WoW, because you kind of compared it to the MCU. If they were going to do movies off of it, I would want it to be kind of like Marvel, where it's like, hey, we got a guy like Kevin Feige, where Kevin Feige's a comic book fan. He loves these characters. Get somebody like that, they are just entrapped in this WoW lore and could tell a better story. Because I didn't necessarily like it as much story-wise for the movie.
I really think that that's kind of a key. Two things I think they need. They need somebody who kind of lives and breathes it to really bring the coolness out to life. The other thing they need is big investment on it and big buy-in. Because that's a thing that obviously, and Marvel hasn't always had Disney, but they have Disney. They can spend as much money as they want.
Well, they didn't even know that this Marvel thing was going to be a thing when they came out with Iron Man 10 years ago.
Well, I'm going to go to Iron Man 2, and I think a good starting point as we, just in between sections of this podcast, we're talking about the fact that the story itself was all right, but a little weird starting point. They just need to tell a nice adventure story that's got some orcs in it and stuff. Just like tell us a cool fantasy story, because you can definitely do that. Think of an Iron Man 1, the original one. It's just a simple superhero story. Yeah. Think of the first of the Dark Knight trilogy, Batman Begins. It was just a simple Batman story. It's not this huge, complicated. People want to skip to that very end. We want to do Civil War. We want to do the first Avengers movie. We want to jump to that big moment. Well, you can't jump to the big moment. You need years of building to get there first.
Another thing I'll say that a WoW movie has that Marvel does not is I also felt like, hey, you know what? We got to have a human side of the story, and we've got to have an orc side of the story. And the orc can't be just the bad people, because we've got two factions of fans that some play Horde, some play Alliance.
The orcs aren't bad people.
Exactly. Like, if they just made it to where, like, I'll be honest, me being an Alliance, make a movie about, like, I would start with one of the human characters. Yeah, the orcs would be bad, but you can always flip it and tell one of their stories later on. I felt like they were trying to appease both factions of fans.
Yeah, you have to try to balance it to some extent, but, like, there were better storylines to start from, maybe, but, like, I think the problem is it's such an expansive universe.
It's like, where do you start?
They tried to go in and try to lay out too much story in the first movie, and it's just like, we get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit over there. Yeah. Hey, look, what's going on with this mage guy? And it's just like, you get so many little snippets of, like, this should appease people that you don't actually put together and tell a cohesive story.
That's my constant complaint with a lot of these superhero movies nowadays, is that they tell 5 different things. I mean, you'll have 3 different supervillains in there for some reason. You have now every superhero also has 3 other superheroes in their movie too. And it's just like, just tell me a simple story. Yeah. There's a reason why I still think that, and part of it might be nostalgia, but I still think that early Iron Man movie is one of the best Marvel superhero movies, because it was simple. It was just simple. It was a nice little story. It was a good superhero moment, and it was easy. Same thing with the original Captain America. Yeah. Same thing with the original Thor. They were all just, here's a simple, straightforward story. Here you go. We're gonna make it good and entertaining.
Yeah. Like, I would love if it got the sequel. I haven't looked up to see if it's official. You guys will tell me if it is.
I just say reboot it. Do an Arthas.
Well, that's the thing.
Do a
You
Lich King.
you tell the storyline behind Arthas and becoming the Lich King, and then being knocked out from being the Lich King, being saved essentially.
Yep.
Like that's a great storyline. Illidan.
'Cause, like,
Illidan
you can
is
even-
such a complicated character that I don't know if I would hit that the first go.
No, I would do because I feel like
Arthas
you
is,
could
like, the
do
easy
3
one.
movies. You could do a 3-movie storyline with Arthas. His before he becomes the Lich King, him becoming the Lich King, everyone dethroning him from the Lich King.
I say you go 2, you
But
split it, and it's
The
just
only and I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
you're not saying it this way, but is your focus on this Arthas Lich King character?
I'm
Because
going more Christopher Nolan route though. Like with that,
the
that'd be more
transformation of the
Chris-
character.
Yeah, where it's
rather
like
than-
because like the thing that like you think
I'm
about
just thinking
too is
you
I
don't
go
want
back
the
to
focus
Warcraft
to be
3.
the enemy.
Right, and so
You don't
that's
want
the
to
thing.
be
He
the
is
bad guy.
he was.
I mean, you can make movies where the bad guy's the focus.
They don't do well.
So, just to give you a little context, Arthas is a human who was a paladin who basically became corrupted and merged with Frostmourne, this giant icy sword. And it is sort of an awesome story. There's a stupid amount of lore.
you have a little
But
bit of Anakin
it's
Skywalker becoming Darth Vader.
Yeah, him from a hero turned into a villain. But the whole thing was, as the Lich King, he was raising armies of the dead
Yeah.
and waging war on the living. And then we had to go up to kick his ass, basically, and get him out of there because he was, obviously, he had been corrupted to the point
Yeah.
where he couldn't, he was doing his thing. So,
I love your use
Look.
of the word "we."
I'm
not even making
played
fun
I'm
of
part of
you.
it. I
I'm
played
not
it.
even making fun of you.
played it.
I think it's cool.
I freed Arthas. That was
Yeah.
part of my job. I got Bolvar to wear the helmet, to wear the mantle, because there always has to be a Lich King. Like,
like-
it was this weird thing. You knock off the Lich King, and then there's that realization. It's like, there always has to be one.
Or
And so so let me just
go
real quick.
ahead.
So like you're saying there, you and your 25 guildies, and they're like, "Yep, Arthas is finally freed. We've done this great thing." And then he goes, "But there always has to be a Lich King. Like it always hungers for someone." So like you watch one of the other heroes go up and pretty much sacrifice himself to sit on the icy throne and be the Lich King and guard over the dead and make sure this doesn't happen. It's just like this weird moment where it's like, we won, but did we really kind of a
Yeah.
feeling? And
You
like,
won, but at what cost?
yeah, and that's I think the thing that WoW does with its storylines, like when you have a character like that that's such a huge motion to the game and like with consequences throughout, I think it was just great storytelling. That I agree with you, Ricky. I think that would be an awesome thing. Like I'm thinking a 2-parter. You leave it right
Yeah.
at the pinnacle of like Arthas became, is the Lich King, and he's now waging war, and everything's at its darkest. You go straight to like this is the worst point of human life. Everything's at risk. We're about to be overrun by the dead, and then it's like the second half of the movie. You just come through with this is how we save the world.
This is another thing I think they can do is let's go back one more expansion, BC.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, to me, maybe I'm throwing casuals out the window. I'm sorry, Mark. I'm throwing non-WoW people out the window
That's okay.
with this. But everyone should understand with Warcraft, there are orcs on this side, humans on this side, at the very least.
Yep, that's the basis.
They are fighting each other. And one of the things I go back to is not even WoW, but like playing Warcraft 2 as a kid and getting that expansion through the portal and seeing the cinematic of all these characters that I have played. That was like a StarCraft game, though, so it was different than WoW. But just starting out the movie with, hey, this is the world of Azeroth and these people. And then it's like, boom, the beginning of the Dark Portal.
Portal lights up.
And basically,
Demons.
you do movies of the first one is the Dark Portals here. When you get to the very end, which would be MCU Thanos, Illidan is your Thanos. And you end with that. You end with
Maybe.
that too. Like there's so many different
That's the thing.
stories that they can
You've
tell.
got rich lore.
They can even tell a Jaina Proudmoore story just from the one
Redemption
that
arc?
we
Yep.
just seen with her and her like this is a spoiler. There was one of the when you first get to the new zone, there's a cinematic where Jaina is sitting there at the desk in the captain's room of the boat, and you just you hear the song from the cinematic that we watched, and I'm
Haunting.
like, oh, and then like she looks, and it's her dad and her like singing it, and she goes like, oh, well, you'll be back, and he goes, nothing will ever like keep me, no winds will ever keep me away from you or tides or whatever, and then it's like he turns into like a dead zombie, goes, but your mom will never forgive you, and she's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And just that, it's like you could do a story on that if you wanted to keep it in BFA. Because
I
it's
wonder a question I have, and so much of it's in video games, but they have comics too. Is there an author? You know, where like
One Central? No.
but it doesn't have to necessarily be one central. But like I think of Star Wars and the expanded universe, which no longer exists.
Yeah.
Like where you would have a trilogy told by an author who did a great job, and then you'd have some story told by another author who sucked. But like you had these ones who told really good stories. Like I feel like what Warcraft kind of needs, instead of going this Hollywood route, let's just pay some people to be these writers and
Just tell random stories.
Random stories, but you know, it doesn't have to be on this grand of scale because these people will cost you too much money.
Right.
But you need a George R.R. Martin, an Steven Erikson, a Brandon Sanderson. You need one of these great fantasy writers to come in here and help you tell an amazing story.
What if they did like an HBO or a Netflix type show? Like it was a TV show instead of a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, part of it too is the thing with WoW is with the orcs and everything.
Is
you
that
see,
we're gonna get a Lord of the Rings?
Well, no,
TV show, so that's gonna kind of ruin it.
There's that, but I mean, the budget for the cinematic, cinematic, but the CGI
That's
that
why
you
we
have to
lost
do
Ghost.
is going to be too much.
That's why Ghost is gone because they didn't have money to make a CGI wolf.
I mean, there are book series behind BFA or behind all of World of Warcraft. Like, there's a lot of writers. Christy Golden's one of them. I'm seeing coming up in a ton of the books. But again, they've basically got a lore team, and that's one writer. And I don't know if that's I think those are the official ones, but still, it's just like, yes, I agree with you. If they had a great fantasy storyteller, or even if they just got those people who write the actual WoW lore to work with, and like, They need help on that front. But I want to kind of pull this back into BFA. We've gotten heavily sidetracked, but into a fun conversation about the prospects of a movie and how they could do it better, maybe. And I wanted to end on this one note for BFA. This is basically, day 4 of the expansion. 4. Yes, today's Thursday.
It came out
Monday.
Tuesday at 5.
Well, it was
our
Monday.
time.
Monday at 5.
Was it Monday?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
That's right. It was Monday at 5.
Monday at 5, and it is now Thursday at 8:43. For those of you who really want to know,
Central Time.
The WoW launch week, Ricky. How did you feel? Like all in all, like today, you're sitting here. What are your thoughts on?
I want to play it.
I
just want to play it. Like, but me, I'm a different mindset where I've only played. Where at the same time, my experience has been. I love what I do here right now, and this has kind of taken precedence over WoW, where it should.
Yep.
It should. MVP should take precedence
Absolutely.
over.
We're committed.
But it's like, for example, you said it comes out Monday.
Yep.
I was recording the Primetime Podcast. Then we recorded on Tuesday. Wednesday, I had a free night, so it's like, okay, I can play it. And now all I want to do is I got 4 levels in one night, almost 5. I'm being too modest. 4.
Yep.
I didn't get close enough to the 5th one. All I want to do is get to 120 to experience everything.
Because there's so much more that opens up.
The thing that you were talking about is you were like, instances were actually hard.
Yeah.
And that's what I miss. Like going into, because how it used to be was you had the instance, but then once you had a certain gear level, you could do heroics. Or, no, the heroics were when you were at max level because some of the instances were lower level.
Yeah.
But the heroics, you're like, yeah, they're actually challenging. I was like, really? Because back in Legion or whatever expansions I was doing before, like after Wrath of the Lich King, they were just kind of mind-numbing. It's like, all right, we're going through this heroic just to get this gear, just to do this. And it didn't have any challenge to it. Like, I miss BC so much how I would go into Karazhan, we would get through 4 bosses, and it's like, all right, guys, this was a good run. We're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to finish this thing.
Yeah.
Like, that was good because it was so challenging just to get through 4 bosses.
Karazhan's a masterpiece. It's not as good as Ulduar, but it's a fantastic memory. I agree, and that's the thing. Like, right now, everybody, level playing field, nobody has gear. Heroics are challenging. And then when, I think September 4th, give or take, I think raids go live and Mythic Dungeons, where they add another tier of complexity to those 5-mans and really tune it up.
So because you're at 120, what's the Mythic thing? Because that's new, isn't it?
No, Mythic Dungeons have been around for the last expansion. They were live in Legion. Basically, they're borrowing from Diablo, where they take affixes. By affix, I mean like an additional detriment against your group while you play.
So it's like a handicap.
Yeah, so they handicap it, and you can tune it up. It starts at like, I think it's +5 or +3 or something. But you can go up to like +15, +20, +25. I don't know really where the top end is, if it's like 23, 25 range. Because I didn't play a ton in Legion either. But it makes it so much harder, but it also gives you that challenge of it only takes 5 people to do this instead of a full
gear,
raid.
The higher
you do,
you
it
have
scales,
Okay.
yeah. I don't know to what level for this new expansion, but
you
yes.
will get better gear if you have it on the highest setting.
Right, and it is very difficult, and it's something that people run their head into a wall, but because it's not, we have to get 10, 20 people together, it's something you can do with a small group of friends and feel that progression still. So it's another way to engage the player, and that's what I feel like between daily quests, world quests, rep grinds, PvP, expeditions,
War mode.
They've added so many things to engage the player. It feels like you don't have enough time in the day to play this game as much as you want to. And I think
Because you're too old. Too old to game.
Look, Mark, that was a great plug. Credit to you. But I don't have work right now, and I still don't have enough time to play this game.
Yeah.
So that should tell you. Mark, that's sort of my thoughts. After listening to us talk about this for about 45 minutes.
The non-WoW guy.
What are your feelings on BFA, World of Warcraft as a whole? Do you think that they're doing right?
Well, it's funny because World of Warcraft is the big popular one. But my real only experience with Warcraft is Warcraft. Playing those.
Build RTSs,
Yeah, because I love a real-time strategy game. I had Warcraft, I had StarCraft, and I always think of World of Warcraft or Warcraft, and it's work. The old
Zug.
the orc.
Zug.
Yeah, like you do that and stuff like that. That's just my only thing. But I played a little bit of Warcraft, World of Warcraft, and couldn't really get into it just because not having the people. I think it's a super cool thing. I'm just a single player kind of person is my issue. And I certainly don't have time to do any of this stuff now. I barely have time to play any games now, which is unfortunate. But it's just the kind of thing where it's like, I think it's cool. I think it's awesome. I like hearing about it because my favorite thing in a fantasy story is the lore, the world building. Like, that's awesome. For me, Harry Potter became awesome when you got to book 4 because it was like, oh, now there's all this other stuff going on.
Yes.
Things exist outside of just Hogwarts. I mentioned some of those writers. George R.R. Martin did an awesome
Sanderson
job
can spin up a freaking universe in like days.
Sanderson will give you a 300-page book that has a universe the size of like another author's 10 books.
It's incredible what he does.
Yeah, and
he knows he's got rules to it. He has all this theory behind, and it's in place from the get-go, and you don't even know it until you encounter it later. Like I
recently made Vicky read through the original Mistborn trilogy, and like she read the first chapter and she's like, I don't understand. What is this? And I'm like, just read and you're gonna get it. Like, you're gonna get it. And she loved it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what Warcraft can be. But it's so different when you're telling this story through a video game of like, we just have to give you little tidbits and you can kind of fill in the rest. It's so different when you have to have a character, like for movies and stuff like that. You need a character motivation. They need to have their arcs. They need to develop as something. They need to have progress going on. There's so much extra to when it comes to storytelling that World of Warcraft certainly can get to. But I think it's cool. It's just something I've never been a part of.
I'm now, ever since you brought up the actual Warcraft, I'm looking at like old sayings from the characters.
Yeah.
And the one that will always get me when I first saw it was, you make a knight or a paladin, it's like, ready to serve my lord. And it just comes out of the barracks and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
So now I'm just looking at those.
Some good memories
For
from
the
back
king.
in the day. And one final parting note on my end is I'd like to say well done to the people who put together the soundtrack to the game for BFA. The dungeons, the questing zones.
Especially the Haunted Mansion.
The Haunted Mansion, the Spooky Witches, the Troll Zones, everything.
These witches so spooky.
They are.
These witches so spooky.
And they hit with some heavy organ music, and you just feel like you're in Transylvania. You've got that. Like, they do a great job at helping the ambiance and really drawing you in more. So bravo to that. I want to give you guys props. I know you're watching. So boys, big news on the Switch is that they are bringing Diablo 3 in. This is huge.
I mean, Diablo was never a game. You tried to get me into
I'm
it.
staring daggers into you right now.
I know. You tried to get me into it. I just never got into it.
Did you not love dungeon crawls? Did you not love Champions of what was that?
We played it on the
Champions of Norath.
We played it on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
I think that kind of played into it.
It did.
And
the
when you
different.
And when you compared it to Gauntlet, you got my hopes up really high.
Well, that's because we started the game. You don't have all your abilities till you hit max level. So you start off, you're just swinging an axe at shit. That's not gameplay. That's level. That's like calling World of Warcraft, killing 10 boars, and you're like, I'm not super impressed by this. Like, well, no shit. You're seeing one iota of the game. I want to backhand you over that Diablo comment. I'm sorry. That's been a lot of pent-up frustration for those who are watching at home. But Diablo going to the Switch. Mark, give me your thoughts.
This is exactly what Nintendo Switch is supposed to be. It's supposed to be that thing that has these third-party games, that has this draw. Because for everybody, it was like, when you think about PlayStation 2, GameCube, Xbox, things like that, you're sitting there and you're saying, all right, I got to make a choice. I can get these three. I can get the third party on any of these, but what's that first party? Nintendo got into this weird little region where for Wii and Wii U that it's all right. My Nintendo is purely Nintendo games. I can't get anything else, so I have to get something. So for a lot of people who couldn't afford both, it was I get an Xbox or a PlayStation. I can't get a Nintendo because I can't play the other games I want. Now the Switch was supposed to be exactly that of, hey, you can play those games. And something like Diablo 3, even though we're years late, but it's still something where it's like, all right, cool. This is what Nintendo was supposed to be. This is what the Nintendo should have done with the Wii U, but missed the boat and kind of went on this weird in-between from gimmicky Wii to actual console, Switch. So I'm glad that they're doing this. I think that there's still some games that they need to get more of. They need to do more of these. Third party. They need to get more of these ports. They need to really just buy all in and just go all in on it and make this console something awesome.
The thing that I wonder is when it comes to the actual gameplay of it. Yeah. Because when you and I played on PlayStation, it was kind of split screen. You had your thing, I had my thing.
No, it was shared screen.
Was it a shared screen?
Yeah, it's couch co-op.
That's right. The thing that the Switch is great at though is that, and that's the first thing I thought of. Like when we went to visit our friend Sean, who has a Switch. Yep. Of course, we're playing the stupid games like Try Not to Cheat and those Crack the
Don't
Bomb.
blow up. Yeah,
everyone's got the one Joy-Con and that's your thing to answer. I wonder what they're going to do with the sense of the Switch of, okay, I've got my Switch. Let's all play on my TV together just with individual Joy-Cons. Or even okay, I've got my Switch portable. You've got your Switch portable. Can we play together with that?
I think it's going to be more the latter than the former because there are enough buttons you have to hit that I don't think Joy-Con's only got 2, right?
Yeah, unless they make it to where you're holding
1, 2, and then the right, and then you got 3, 4.
Unless you have
you
the
need
two
an
of them
actual
together.
Controller.
Yeah,
you need an actual controller.
I think you need 4 buttons basically, because that's basically they're taking the port from the PlayStation and kind of turning that into the port to the Switch because obviously there's a lot of buttons and it was a very mouse heavy game. So when they ported it over, it changed a lot of things, but I think it's awesome. I think Diablo is a game with immense replayability.
You said 4 buttons you need?
I believe so.
Because the Joy-Con has a stick and then 4 buttons.
Oh, then yeah.
So it does have 4 buttons.
Then it could be. Yeah. It could be. It's exciting, actually. I think that, honestly...
You lose a lot, though. when it comes to, hotkeys and stuff like that, you kind of...
Oh, yeah, but at the same time,
I don't know. But that's just a complaint about a game like Diablo on any console.
Right, and that's one of the things. I think Diablo is the right first step for Blizzard. This company with immense amount of power behind them, and doing a game like Diablo, they already hit it big with Hearthstone being the multi-platform amazing title because you could play it on your phone, on your iPad, on anything basically that has an internet connection. You can play Hearthstone, and that's what made that game stand out from the crowd. Diablo was the game that you can dump in an absurd amount of time to grind out for the 0.001% drop increase, for your gear. And it's just that dungeon crawl that because of the randomizer, because of the affixes, because of the difficulty, it doesn't feel like it gets old, and the seasons on top of that. Like there's always something new coming to keep you in there. So I think that the Switch going for that crew kind of lends itself to like, okay, now, the Switch was seen as like, oh, we've got Zelda, we've got this, and now we've got games a little bit more in depth on a different end for a different audience. They're widening out that spread, and I'm wondering if this is the start of something for Blizzard. I love Blizzard, but we're all looking at one game that we all, I know Ricky and I enjoy Overwatch.
I can't wait.
I'm going, can they Overwatch switch?
Think about this,
Can they switch
boys.
Overwatch?
Think about this. The thing that is most important to Overwatch that we kind of talked about with WoW is teamwork. You have your group of 6. The thing for the Switch that can make it so much better is even if you don't have 6 people, like if you and I and Mark are going to play Overwatch together, we have to be at our own houses.
Yeah.
Unless it's like you have the capabilities to have 2 TVs and
we
LAN
could
party
easily do
set
that.
up. But with a Switch, it could be as easy as, hey, I'm coming over, and one person can be docked because it's their house, but then everyone has their individual Switches, and you can all be in the same room anywhere you want playing Overwatch, and kind of the communication with that. Which
that's crazy.
That's the thing on the Switch that makes me excited for it, is being in the same room with the people you're playing with while you're playing Overwatch on the Switch.
That you can do that. People probably won't.
And we've got a group of friends who have Overwatch for Xbox, and I could easily see them getting together, bringing their system, having an old school system.
I mean, we just talked about LAN parties.
Yeah, we did
a few episodes ago.
But people don't do it anymore. Like that's not a
but
common
now the
thing.
Switch is taking
basically
it. Are
what
they
you're
bringing it back?
describing.
No. But the Switch makes it like people no longer like back in the day. It was like I don't care. I'm going to bring my entire
But
system.
is the Switch the new LAN party?
But
It's
that's
easier to
That's what
do
I'm
it.
saying.
Yeah.
You're kind of bringing that back.
Yeah.
You're trying to do that. I still don't necessarily think that people will, because people are lazy.
Because I mean, like even the
why go to Dave's house when I can just be at my house?
It's true.
Because what if you're
True.
like,
but
it's not.
adds a different level
I'll
of.
talk to you on my headset.
It's not a thing of like, oh, I have to go to Dave's, but it's like, hey, I'm going to Dave's.
No, I get
I'm
it.
going to bring my.
We can
Overwatch.
hang out
I
for a
get
couple hours.
exactly.
I think it's cool.
Overwatch.
Because
I'm
like
just thinking
they're,
that most
they're
people are
even
lazy.
trying to add things like the Mario Party thing, and I think that was on their Nintendo Direct around E3. They had this where you can select the Switches and like place them on the table in different configurations, and it's like, okay, that's the map now for this Mario Party thing.
rules.
And you can like change it to where, okay, now instead of like this, they're going to be like that. And it kind of changes the map that you're in for whatever party game you're in.
No, I think it brings a level of accessibility to having a group of friends come together at one place, and that's what the Switch has been all about. Really, is bringing that mobility back to gaming, and I love it. If I had one, I would totally do it.
I'm getting one Black Friday. It's my Black Friday thing.
Yep.
No, like I decided it's my Black Friday.
How much does a
year.
Switch cost nowadays?
A Switch costs. Let me pull up an open tab.
give me
the reason why it's going to be a Black Friday purchase for me.
Do you know if it's Black Friday?
Super Smash comes out December 7th. Right now, the Switch is $300.
So it's
at
still
Best Buy.
expensive.
Black Friday, you might get it for like $250.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Or
you get something where you get like I jumped on the Wii U because I was able to get Mario Kart.
Yeah. I mean, it's a staple. Bless you.
Thank you, guys. I was able to get Mario Kart, and they had the deal at the time where you had to buy one of these 3 games, and then you got Mario Kart for free.
Yeah.
And it was like, hell yeah, this is the time to jump in on it. And maybe they might do something similar, because that was when Mario Kart was just coming out or something like that. They might do something like that for Smash Bros. I really don't see a reason why Overwatch isn't on the Switch. Like, I don't see what the issue is. What is stopping that from happening? Because to me, it's a slam dunk.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the right kind of demographic to play this game. It's a really cool game of, like, you buy it, and then you just get all the stuff for free. Besides, the
and think about all the
fancy
money.
colors.
Well,
and
that's
stuff.
the thing. Like, think about all the money that I'm sure Nintendo would get a bite out of for porting in this game, because all the purchasables in game for different skins, different things like that, like, it opens up another revenue stream where they can just take a tiny percentage out of this because you're using our system. And
exactly.
Who knows?
Yeah. So to me, it makes perfect sense. It's the kind of thing where it'll work. It'll get people playing it. It'll get people buying Switches. And I don't know. I I just think that there's still this kind of view for Nintendo of like, yes, you're trying to get those third-party games back, but you haven't completely done it.
Do you see one game or one... Yeah, do you see like one game title where you're like, if they got that, they'd be kind of legitimized? Or do you think it's a collection of them?
I think that Blizzard is a big one. I think that really helps. I think getting Madden back on those is a big deal too, and like actual Madden, not like some jokey football version of it. That's a big deal because I mean you got to look at those casual games. Getting the Call of Duties, getting the they can't get I don't even know which
Battlefield.
Yeah, Battlefield. They can't get Battlefield. Like getting a Battlefront or something like that. Like you got to get those casual gamer type of games because those are the things that sell consoles. Because people are saying, "Oh, I can jump into this because I'm not missing something."
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's the problem when it's like, if I were to buy an Xbox or a Switch instead of a PlayStation, I'm going to feel like I'm missing out on things. I'm missing out on Persona. I'll miss out on, even though I'm not a big fan of the game personally because I get frustrated, but like a Bloodborne.
Yeah.
I'm missing out on that. I'm missing out on Death Stranding or something like that. Although I think that one might, I don't think that one's
said like Nier
individual.
Automata was now ported over to Xbox just recently, I want to say, or is in the process of being.
I don't want to feel like I'm missing out on things. And everybody has their favorite first-party games. Some people love Halo. Other people love Uncharted, but and Zelda and things like that. But you don't want to buy in on a first-party one and feel, well, I'm missing out on all those third parties because that's a huge issue.
I think what the Switch will eventually kind of morph into completely is more of not necessarily like what party game it is, but like we're going to go after the co-op games or the games like you think Super Smash, people can get together and play that.
Yeah.
Mario Party, people can get together and play it. Diablo, people can get together and play it. Overwatch. Like the whole thing with the Switch is we're going to get together, we are going to play games. And I mean, that's kind of what they've done so far.
Yeah, they've already done it, but doing it with the third parties is a big deal.
Dive in and like what third parties can you do that with and kind of making that kind of
if you can
matchup.
go back to the glory days of the System Link with your, Game Boy Advance where you plug it in with the cable and you can play each other.
Doing that?
Like
I think we can do that wirelessly now, Mark.
We used to be able to IR do it.
But we don't.
You got to hold up.
But that's the thing. It doesn't matter what you can do. It matters what you actually do.
Right. If
We're
it's
not
inconvenient,
doing it.
people aren't going to do it.
If
trying
you
to make
can
it
get
easy.
back to where a Switch, people are getting together and actually bringing the Switch to play with each other.
Well, they're not going to
awesome.
bring the dock, but you'll bring like the actual Switch.
I count that as the Switch.
Yeah, but I mean, like you're not bringing like the entire Switch. Like you're leaving your dock at home.
Unless they've got extra TVs. I'm just tossing it out there. Some people do that.
But if you're going to be like
was the
that,
old
just
LAN
play
parties.
PlayStation and bring the PlayStation, or play Xbox and bring the Xbox.
But that's their point, is that it's easier to bring that than bringing a whole system.
Yeah.
So it's portable. It's easy. It's on the go. Honestly, guys, I'm trying to think about the Switch and name something. But you mentioned all these party games, but the problem is 4 out of the 5 or 3 out of the 4 you mentioned were already
got a
Nintendo
head start.
property.
Yeah.
No, they were a Nintendo property.
True.
Like, you got to look at something that's not out there that people are playing. And that's where, for me, I start wondering. I'm looking at Steam games, trying to go in that group maybe. Obviously Fortnite's going to be a huge one.
Yeah.
But like,
What about a game like what we've seen, like is it Dead Cells, Dark Cells, Death Cells? The new one that came out that's like the Metroid Prime scroller. Like, that would look great on the Switch.
Absolutely.
Like, even
I was
games like
thinking
that as well.
You could do a bad port of like a MOBA, like a League of Legends, a Dota 2, something like that, where you've got a heavy player
You know what
base.
I would love? Give me a good strategy game. Give me a good Civilization on a Switch.
Civ 5
Where-
or
I was just playing Civ 5 again the other day because I was missing it. And I kept getting all these ads for Civ 6 that was on sale, and I'm like, I got Civ 5. I don't need this.
exactly.
But, I can just pull that up on my laptop, of course. But if I can just grab, the Switch, which is pretty easy to hold, and just my wife can watch TV as I sit there and play that, that's awesome. I would love that. That's what, if you can give me that, you can give me a Crusader Kings, some like good strategy game like that, I'd be crazy about it.
No, and then the Total War series.
Yeah.
Like I bought in on Total War Warhammer because I used to be big on Warhammer. Love the lore, love behind it. Playing Total War games, that is, they could do some really dirty stuff with that because think about the time investment, the communities. Be smart about this, Nintendo. I love that you're starting to branch out, go after these big groups, and bring in a couple IPs from each and see. Like, I think that, honestly, you've got an awesome player base already. It's the most unique player base there is right now, I think, between systems. So I want to have them keep pushing, keep getting bigger, and keep that positivity growing.
You know what was just posted today about Super Smash Bros? So Super Smash Brothers is going to have that for Ultimate, a bundle. And in the bundle, they are going to include a GameCube controller and an adapter for you to plug into the Switch so that you can play with your GameCube controllers on the Switch.
Yeah, they did that for the Wii U as well. It was a good idea.
Yep, bravo.
Cool.
Well, I think that just about wraps it up for us tonight, boys.
You don't want to talk about any more WoW? You got nothing else you want to talk about?
Look, I can talk WoW for the next 5 hours easily.
You can finish the podcast and go home and play it.
This man sees through me.
Mark's like, don't let me sit through that.
Yeah.
Please.
This man sees through me. But that will wrap it up for episode 7
Mark's like, I've got a wife to get home to, guys. I can't sit here and talk.
My wife is named World of Warcraft.
Jaina Proudmoore is now married to Dave Oster.
There you go.
Dave likes strong women.
Thank you for joining us for episode 7 of Too Old to Game. I've been your fear-filled host, Dave Oster. If you want to support us, obviously hit that like button down below, sub to the channel. Check us out on Patreon if you want to donate. And if you want to support us on iTunes, 5-star that shit because we need it. And we love to hear back from you in the comment section. We love the feedback. And that's really all I got. Thanks so much, everybody.